Florian, and I was exchange student at Yonsei University through UCAP from fall 2017 to spring 2018. I just want to let people know what to expect in Yonsei, how to prepare, finance, and how study abroad led me to what I'm doing now. So let's just get started. Well, just a quick little intro. So I recently graduated from UC Santa Barbara as a communication major and Asian American Studies minor. And so I decided to study abroad during my third year of university. So it was around fall quarter when I met with my academic advisor, and she was like, "You're going to graduate by the end of this year at this rate." And I was like, I am not ready to graduate after 3 years. So I didn't know what to do to prolong the realities of adulthood, but the idea just hit me because the flyers were everywhere at my campus. But basically I decided to study abroad for a year. The great thing about my major is that as a comm major, I was provided a lot of flexibility to transfer credits from the exchange program back to my home university. And so in order to do that, the process was fairly simple for me, and I decided to go to Korea because the Yonsei program had a lot of units offered for my major compared to the other abroad programs, and it was a lot more cheaper than the other locations such as Europe, where a lot of people seem to go for their exchange experience. And also for more personal reasons, I just wanted to connect more to my heritage. So I was born in America, but I went back and forth to Korea a lot because all of my relatives lived there, and it was only just my parents and I and my younger brother here in the States. So I always felt this sense of just a sense of something that's not fully 100% like, oh, I feel American, because I grew up living in two different cultures, and I just wanted to learn more about myself and where my parents came from, and just to experience and understand more of all the struggles and sacrifices they made in order to really maintain a life in America for us. And so that's one of the biggest reasons why I decided to go to Korea. And well, what to expect? Well, there's everyone goes to Korea for different reasons. It could be either because of you're into K-pop or Hallyu, or you're just looking for a study abroad experience that might be a little bit cheaper than anywhere else, or you're just looking to have fun because Korea is known for its nightlife and a lot of attractions, and it's very much the place for young people. But for me, like, I didn't know what to expect as living there long term, because I have been to Korea back and forth just to visit during the breaks, but I didn't know what to really expect. But first thing is for sure, like, when you are packing, don't bring a lot of stuff because you could buy a majority of the things here. But make sure to bring a lot of luggage though. Pack light, but bring a lot of luggage, because you're gonna be doing a lot of shopping. It doesn't matter if you're a boy or girl, because you're gonna be not just shopping for yourself, but also for the people around you, because they'll be asking for, oh, can you get this? Can you get that for me? And so make sure that you have big enough luggage to bring back home. And so, but there are a few things to keep in mind what to bring. If you are running a little bit large in the size department, then you should bring your own, just a couple more clothes, because the sizes here in Korea does run small, but a lot of brands such as H&M and Zara do offer larger sizes, more of those international brands. But if you want to buy like a lot of the cute clothes you find on the streets, they're all usually free size or one size. So please keep that in mind. Oh, and shoes. So they go by the centimeters, I guess. But so I am a US women's size 8 for shoes, and I am the max. Like literally I am the max. That's a 250 here in Korea. That's usually the max shoe size for women. So if you run larger than a women's size 8, you should definitely bring your own shoes. And if you're more used to American toothpaste because it tastes more fresh, or you just like, or feels more whitening to you, then I recommend you also bring American toothpaste, because there are American toothpaste, but it's more expensive here, and a lot of the Korean toothpastes are kind of weak. So I always ask my friends to bring American toothpaste for me when they do decide to come visit Korea, that you're more used to and might have a hard time adjusting to, and I really recommend that you bring those from home. But other than that, you can find everything else, like skincare is great here. If you're really into Korean fashion, or even streetwear is really nice here, but definitely don't expect to buy like foreign-based things here, because they are more expensive through import tax. So keep that in mind and what to expect. And now a lot of you might be thinking like, you're funny, I don't think I could afford to go study abroad. Well, it really depends. Like I said, like there are many different countries, especially if you're going through the UCAP. There's a lot of countries that are offered in the program, and of course if you go to Europe or any of those Western nations, of course they might be a little bit more expensive. Scholarships might be more hard to come by. But if you go with more to, say, in the Asian countries, there's tons of programs that offer scholarships, and the UCAP has a great system of organizing all the different types of scholarships that you can apply, and they're fairly easy. You just it's like doing college essays all over again. Just have one basic essay that you can stick to and just adapt it to whatever scholarship requirement. And one of the biggest scholarships that I was fortunate and I'm very grateful to receive was the Gilman scholarship. So the Gilman scholarship really is a scholarship for those who have financial aid, so those who are dependent on Cal Grant or FAFSA. So this is a national scholarship, and honestly, like if it wasn't for Gilman, I don't think I would have been able to go to Korea for a year. So the thing about Gilman scholarship is that they required the recipients to give back some kind of service project after the study abroad program. And so basically what the application is, basically you suggest what type of service project you want to do. And so this is why I am doing the whole blog and video, because this is part of my service project of giving back to the people around me that might be interested in studying abroad, especially those who are more financially dependent on scholarships and aid. So yeah, but basically finance shouldn't be too much of a stress if you're worried about that. Especially for me, the reason why I decided to do a year is there were more scholarships offered for those who are studying abroad for the year. For UCAP, they automatically give scholarship to UCAP students who are doing a year abroad. So you don't need to apply or write an essay for that. So that's already pretty amazing. The key thing about financing your study abroad experience is to basically apply for everything. Like get the whole list packet of scholarships that they offer at the UCAP office and just apply for everything. It might be tedious, but it'll be worth it in the end. Even though some of the amounts are really small, everything adds up. And so yeah, don't be afraid to ask your advisors for help with their essays or any of the deadlines. And Yeah, and for financial aid students, your financial aid still applies to your study abroad experience, except if you're going for the summer. That's different because like just like how you don't really exactly get financial aid for summer school, you don't really get financial aid if you're studying abroad in the summer. So please do keep that in mind. Yeah, and so my experience in Yonsei, well, wow. Fall semester was really the hands-on experience for me. I had the most fun fall semester. Of course, like I had still have fun in spring, but I'll get to why. But fall semester, like I think the best time to go to Yonsei is during the fall because in fall semester there's Yonggojeon, which is basically inter-rivalry campus sports festival. That's the best way to explain it because there's nothing really like it. I mean, other than like the football games, like Yale versus Harvard, maybe, or one of those like college football games. I'm not really into sports, so that explains my poor explanation. But basically, there are usually 5 different sports matches, like soccer, ice hockey, baseball, basketball, and I'm forgetting something, but there's usually 5, I think. And so Yonsei University and Korea University are rival universities. So every fall they get together and they basically fight against each other in these sports. And the thing about sports games, I'm obviously, as you can tell, I'm not a sports person, but I had so much fun cheering for these games. It's nothing like the sports games back in the States. It's like literally you're going there to dance and cheer for the whole game. And there's no, you can rest, but everyone's like standing up, jumping and dancing for the whole game, like 2 hours straight. So Yonsei has a cheer team called Akaraka, and they're basically position themselves in front of the audience and they lead the cheer and dance. So those who are new, who are not familiar with the school cheer and dance, they help and like bring up the school's team spirit, and it's really amazing to watch because they're literally dancing non-stop, really enthusiastically for the whole game and a little bit after. And so seeing that kind of physical stamina, you can't help but feel like, oh, I have to do it too. So yeah, that was basically the highlight of fall semester. The spring semester does offer like a concert style festival where during the springtime, a lot of Korean universities, they hold these kind of festivals where they invite idols or famous singers to the campus and have them sing and perform for the students. But Yonsei is not, I mean, they do have pretty high names, like for example Twice came 2 years ago, but honestly, like if you're not really into K-pop and you're more there for the school spirit experience, I would say fall semester is more for you. But of course there's a lot more people that wants to come to Korea for K-pop, but the level of excitement is so different versus fall and spring. So keep that in mind when you're trying to decide if you only want to go to Yonsei for just a semester. So keep that in mind what period you want to come. But yeah, fall, it was the most fun. I mean, so I had a few mutual friends that told me that their friends were going to the Yonsei exchange program. So I connected with a few friends before coming, but I also made quite a few while I was in the program. So I met a lot of international people, and yeah, there's people from all over the world, like Australia, Canada, Africa. There's so many different types, and it's really amazing like how much like they're curious about this kind of country. I didn't live on campus. I didn't live in the exchange dorms. I had family, relatives living in Seoul, so I just commuted every day, basically every day to school. Oh, that was. So I lived in the Gangnam area, which is the south part of the city. And the thing about Yonsei is like it's northwest. So basically, this is my place, and this is Yonsei. Every day I had to take. Thankfully, there was a bus that took me directly in front of the school from my place, but I had to basically take an hour and a half to almost 2 hour commute every day, and that's just one way, depending on traffic too. So I made sure to never, well, not never, because I had a few classes that were at 9 a.m. and so those were always a struggle. But that's actually quite normal for Korean university students because a lot of them actually don't live in dorms, especially if they live in the city. Even if it's an hour or an hour and a half commute, they still commute. Most of them still commute to school. So that's actually quite a stark difference from the dormitory lifestyle in the States or living close to your campus but not living with your parents. So yeah, that's very interesting. And of course, like my experience is a lot more different than say the normal exchange student, but I would say I still got a fair balance. Like I really got to experience of what it was actually like to live in Korea as like a normal college student here, and also a little bit of a mix of what it's like to be exchange student here. And so yeah, like the people were actually a lot more friendly than I expected. I was a little bit worried because sometimes they might be talking behind your back, but not from my experience. From the people I've met, none of them are really like that, so I was really lucky in that department. But yeah, so yeah, I had a lot of fun in fall semester. The thing about me as a year-long student, I had this kind of like detachment with the other exchange students because they're only there for a semester, so they're trying to make the most out of it, which they should. But their priorities and my priorities were completely different. So sometimes it was hard to feel really included because like, A, I lived out of campus, and B, I was here for the whole year, so I was able to take my time, explore, and do all these different sorts of things. So, but I don't regret living off campus, and I don't regret staying for a year, but it did make me more cautious on making friends in the spring semester because, you know, I grew attached to the friends I made in fall semester, and once they left, I felt really a little bit lonely and a little bit sad. So the spring semester I was also gonna graduate after a spring semester, so I focused more on my career path or what I'm gonna do after. So instead of taking the full 5 classes, I decided to do an internship. So internship, when you decide to do an internship abroad in Yonsei, they basically, for UCAP, you take internship and two other classes or 3 other classes. Don't quite remember, but I do believe that it's 2 other classes. Yeah, because I think an internship is like about 12 units, so it's like about 3 classes worth of units. So yeah, but that made me became more out of campus in the spring semester, so I didn't really come to campus unless I really had to, like tests and classes. So yeah, that made me more not exactly as fun as fall semester, but I mean it was a good experience, definitely, because I got to experience what it was like to work in Korea, and that leads me to what I wanted to do after. So basically, my whole reason of studying abroad was to prolong and be able to think about my future after college more. And the more I stayed in Korea, the more I wanted to stay after. So in college, I always had an interest in beauty, especially in K-beauty, but I never really thought of it more than a hobby. But then the more I studied in my major as a communication major, I said, and I saw how other people were doing these different types of internships and just going after things that they think might make a lot of money. And I just saw how some of them were happy and how some of them were still confused, even though they seemed like they had a set path. And I just said, might as well go for what I wanted to do. And so I decided that I wanted to stay after my study abroad experience because I wanted to pursue K-beauty, to just to learn from the source and maybe expand abroad. I'm still not too sure, but that was my general plan. And so I focused on my internship, and my internship had nothing to do with K-beauty, but it was a good first-hand experience of just the startup culture because I was involved in this investment company that was more like of a startup company of itself, and it was very invested in blockchain or the IT or fintech industry. It was really tough, but it was a good learning experience. I definitely learned that I don't want to go to fintech or IT or anything like that, and how really important it is to be interested in what you do for the rest of your life, because if you're only chasing after money, it's kind of unbearable. I couldn't bear it. I had absolutely 0 degree interest in my internship or whatever I was doing, and I was pretty miserable. And I realized, yeah, it really reaffirmed my decision to really try to pursue something in the beauty industry in Korea. So yeah, that's basically a lot of the thinking that I did during spring semester. I still had a lot of fun. I still traveled a lot. The great thing about Korea is that everything is close by. So you could literally go to Japan for the weekend or Taiwan for the weekend, or take Monday or Friday off. But the attendance is strict in Yonsei, just to make sure for that. So be sure to plan accordingly, but it's really easy to travel abroad. And it's so much cheaper if you look at the right places. And yeah, so honestly, I made most of my year abroad, and I am so grateful, and I really can't feel blessed and lucky that I was able to experience this, and it led me to what I'm doing now. After a long struggle, I finally got a job in a beauty startup company. Yeah, I just hearing and listening from other people who work in Korea, I realized that the big corporate life here in Korea wasn't really for me. Especially if I am fluent in Korean, but I'm not native speaker. So there are quite a few gaps between my English and Korean. So I was kind of a little hesitant if I was gonna fit in my job and be able to competently do everything that I've been told to do. And so I decided, and also I liked the feeling of learning and doing a little bit of everything in a startup. So I decided to work for a beauty startup, and honestly, even if it's not as well paid, I am still learning a lot, and I know that I'm not gonna regret doing any of this. So yeah, if it wasn't for my decision, my spontaneous, abrupt decision to study abroad, I don't know how my life would have been like after graduating college, because I feel like that's a lot of what college students think about and ponder about these days, especially since it's a little bit harder to find jobs like right away after graduating. And that's okay if you don't. But you know, there's so many options out there, and that's why I highly recommend you, studying abroad. It doesn't have to be Korea, but you know, being able to study abroad, your world experiences really open up your mind and all the options that you're able to do. And I feel like as we live in a more modern and digital age, we are lucky to have more options that are available to us now than before. So, make use of those advantages. And yeah, so that's basically wraps up this long video. But if you have anything like you want me to go further in detail or explanation or a video idea, just let me know, and I'll see you again next time. Bye!